All right.
Preempt.
So today on the docket, we're going to review Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. As promised, we've got me, um, Darian,
Hey,
and Jaquan.
you're
You're and Mikey
You're
and Demand are in the background, but
but
I
you're not
have
gonna
them
hear them.
muted so they won't be picked up on audio, even if they accidentally unmute. I have encountered my first rolls. As we do this, I'm going to be chaining shinies because I'm jealous that not only does Jaquan have a shiny rolls, but also in preparation for this, he caught a shiny Starly as well. He's probably shiny hunting a Zubat as we speak.
that's the plan.
That is the plan. And
We go.
completely unrelated, Darian's playing Madden.
Hell yeah. Probably gonna switch it up in a bit though.
All right. So we made a list. You won't be seeing the list. You'll be seeing whatever footage I come up with later. It could be anything really. Because I know I'm not catching a shiny Ralts, so it's not going to be footage. I mean, in fact, I already failed, and I have to restart again. So we got a list of topics which you won't be seeing. Uh, Draft dictates that Jaquan gets first dibs on the topics, and we're just going to keep going until we get through all of them. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. So
good to go.
start us off, Jaquan.
All right, we'll start on the simple things. The poke edge and cleaning badges.
Okay. So you're drafting this one as your first topic.
Yeah.
All right. So
Um,
go for it.
of course, this isn't bad because this also kind of follows with the how hard it changes. Um, I don't want one button to switch to each screen. I mean, like it, and then let me not talk about like when if I don't use the joystick and I use the D-pad to move across the screen, it moves like
Yeah, it
a
doesn't.
snail's
It
pace.
doesn't
Like
move.
it doesn't, it barely moves at all. Um, and then cleaning badges, you can only do that when you're in handheld mode.
Yep, in handheld mode.
But the poke edge was always touchscreen.
Mm-hmm.
I find that so funny that they just like flip flop with
Well,
that because it's just
I'm
like
pretty sure you can still use the Poketch in handheld. That's probably what
no,
they wanted you to do.
no, I'm pretty sure you could. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah,
But the fact
I'm try right
is
now.
that I mean, like a lot of people want to clean their badges from in their bed and not have to pick up their Switch to clean the badges and then put it back on the dock and be like,
Yeah, especially if you're a guy like me, because I don't know about these two too much. I'm literally like 95% I play in docked mode.
Yeah, same.
I That's usually the way I go. I know my roommate is different. He's like 90% handheld. So there are, I mean, obviously it's different people prefer different things, but when a person who likes to play on dot mode, it's just kind of one of those frustrating things. Like I couldn't just use like a cursor on the screen using whatever controller I was using.
"Mhm."
Yeah, I can understand because at the end of the day, the Switch is like one of the most revolutionary consoles technically. Because it does have a full compatibility for both console and handheld. But that was the Nintendo really just trying to double down on what they're good at and what they're known for. Which is kind of why they had to make a more powerful Switch. That came out what this year? OLED
Yeah,
came
the
out this year,
OLED Switch.
The
and
OLED.
nobody has bought it. I doubt.
No, I
Uh,
haven't. The
yeah,
regular Switch is just fine for me.
yeah,
And
No,
plus, the OLED only works when you're in handheld mode. The
yeah.
only
yeah.
thing I would ever buy for is for a LAN cable, and like, no.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the thing about it is that you can just buy the dock
Yeah, you can.
and you'll still have the same results. You don't even have to buy the new Switch.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Uh,
the dock. I mean, like you don't
Why
need to
didn't
buy
they
the new
just sell
Switch
the
for
dock
the new
then?
dock.
They should have sold. Well, the OLED does have like a bigger screen and it's probably more compatible
Yeah, it
with
has
the
a
dock.
screen. I don't
But
know. I think it may have a longer battery life.
it has
I
a longer
don't
battery
know.
life and a bigger screen, but they're literally in dimensions the same size. So
Mm,
you can literally grab like your old Switch and just place it on
Yeah.
that new dock and be like, "Well, I didn't need the OLED. I just need the dock."
right. It's okay. I'll cut out the dead air.
Okay.
But yeah, um, it does suck. I think my biggest complaint is definitely the fact that you're fucking you can't arrow key through the Poketch. Most of the time, like Darren and I have it on dock, especially because I've recorded all of my gameplay. So it's just a very unsightly thing to see unclean badges at the end of every gym battle because I'm not gonna take my Switch, undock it, clean the badges, and then just put it back just for the footage. That's just not something the way would be thinking about.
It's just not practical.
It's very
Yeah.
impractical. It'd be really nice if they gave us some way to clean badges. I even tried it when I went to the badge. I was trying to like move, trying to press A on stuff, and it's like, well, I can't do that. How the heck do I clean
Yeah, like,
badges?
You
Then it
could have
occurred
really
to
done
me,
the same thing you did with like the seals.
yeah,
You can do the seals handheld. Why
yeah, you
not the
can do
badge?
the seal. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even try like because that's the thing, right? The Switch is so different. You just don't think to try those things, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't consider that the worst part of it. But the worst part of it is the fact that they just couldn't integrate the Pokemon well.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Darian, you want dibs on the next topic?
Sure. This was a one that I was really passionate about, like, because the Pokemon community is full of negative Nancy's, and I want to talk about the inclusion of the EXP all
Oh yeah.
because
We memed
when the
about that
game
one for
first
weeks.
came out, every single person I see saying this game is gonna make the game easy.
Oops.
It's just gonna take away any form of difficulty. Well, let's get a couple things straight. Pokemon's never been difficult, and I don't think it ever will be because let's be honest, it's for all ages, but it's mainly directed towards children. And second of all, if you have to try to become over leveled, even with the EXP all on, I was on par with the gym leader's ace in every gym. And
Mhm.
I didn't like skip a ton of battles. I didn't go out of my way to do every single battle. But if I ran into a battle, obviously I did it. Because you like to go through and experience the game. And like even at the end of the game, at the Elite Four, for me it was a pretty big level like jump. I was under leveled for one of the first people, and then there's a thing we'll get to later. Since the teams are a lot different via IVs and EVs, they were outspeeding me. They were whooping me up pretty good. So I don't know why people like to constantly talk about difficulty and things like that in Pokemon games. Pokemon's never been difficult.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. Pokemon, first of all, has never been difficult. That's the reason why they introduced the concept of why someone introduced the concept of Nuzlocking.
Mhm.
I mean, for sure, like from my experience, I literally didn't have to over level or anything. Like I was pretty like I think I was like level 63 when I entered the Elite Four.
No, that's not bad.
And I was like, that's not too bad. I mean, like, and I didn't like grind or anything. I didn't do any extra stuff. I mean, like, I got to the level that I needed and I was straight. So, I mean, like, it wasn't like I was level 70 something and sweeping Cynthia in the Elite Four. Um, I guess, like, really the people who gave me the most trouble were probably like Flint and what's his name? The Psychic Elite Four?
Lucian.
Lucian.
Oh, Will is Gen 2, dadgummit.
Yeah, Will isn't. Yeah.
And of course, like Cynthia's gonna give you trouble,
Yep.
regardless.
Cynthia almost
Like,
one shot my Dialga.
She counterpicked me really hard because I pulled out Honchko and I was like, oh, I'm gonna sweep her when she pulls out the
Yo, I did the
Roserade.
same thing.
And the Roserade had freaking Dazzling Gleam, and I'm just like, oh, well, I just lost my mod.
Damn, that's
For
crazy.
me,
And
it was pretty bad. To me, it got to a point like, okay, if this Spiritomb gets the special defense drop on this Shadow Ball, I lose.
Right.
Straight up. Because I won't be able to live another, and the next Pokemon come out is going to outspeed me, and I'm going to die, and then the whole thing's going to fold.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
So, I
before
mean, yeah,
we get
so-
too deep into it, real quick, yep, same for me. I actually, like I told you guys I was going to do, I stopped as soon as I beat the last gym. I figured out my team. You guys saw. I spent like a good couple of days training an entire team up to level 60. Fully EV'd because I knew there was going to be a lot of Pokemon that were trained. And I still had some pretty hard battles all the way in the Elite Four. And of course, in my normal gameplay, I caught every single Pokemon before I fought the gym, so whatever was available, I caught it. And the most important thing in that is the fact that I didn't really have the opportunity to be that high level because I was constantly rotating my roster, which I think is a really cool way to play as well. But even like my Prinplup / Empoleon, once it finally got to that level, most of the time it was really about on par or a level higher. And that was one Pokemon that I kept consistently throughout most of the game. So just like Darian said at the start of this one, it really sucks that a lot of people want to bash the EXPL because they did a really good job balancing it. It was
Oh, yeah.
never invasive, unlike some other things we'll talk about soon. It was just always a nice way to play Gen 4 without worrying about wasting time. So yeah. So any other thoughts on the EXPL specifically?
No,
Good for me.
All right.
No.
No,
it's pretty good.
All right, so I'm just gonna let us loose here. I'm gonna go with the gym leaders and Elite Four, since we already started
Yeah.
talking about that. And I have it all recorded on video, so it's probably a waste for me to over talk about those. But I'll just touch on the main things. The fact that past the first gym, there's just items in general, not berries. It wasn't just berries. It wasn't just they healed mid battle. Like we could just pull it up. The move sets and the items really made this a different kind of experience, completely different than Gen 4. Let me pull up my favorite example here. It was between the hold on, there was two I wanted to see.
pull up mine as well. This is one I talked about earlier. I really
Yeah,
liked.
It was between gyms 3 and 4 where the game peaked for me, really. Main reasons, there was an expert belt Machoke with Rock Tomb. Now, if you dumbasses watching this don't know, the flying type, which is a really good counter for fighting, gets completely screwed by rock types. And the psychic type, which also gives fighting types a hard time, Machoke has knockoff for that. So that's two forms of counterplay right there that you almost never see in any other Pokemon game. You might every now and then get a Pokemon that's diverse enough to where it'll have a move that counters you. I know Gen 6 did that a few times. But the fact that Maylene's team, which has some pretty obvious counters, Meditite also had Light Screen, as well as Bulk Up. It had Flash and Drain Punch, and it held a Light Clay. Lucario, like I talked about in that video, was Adamant Nature with a big root, and it had Metal Claw, Bulk Up, Screech, and Drain Punch. It was an all-out attacker, perfect for a fighting type gym, and it was one of the more impressive gym leader fights. And then Wake was the only other one that I was really over the moon about. He had Adamant Floatzel as his ace, held a Citrus Berry, good all-out offensive moveset. He had a Quagmire with he had a Quagsire with Rain Dance and a Damp Rock, and then his Gyarados had Ice Fang, Crunch, while holding a Wide Lens, Jolly Nature. Like I'll put it up on screen because I know I re-talked, and I've already talked a lot about how much I love those two gyms. The gym that I liked the least was Candace's because, as always, she just has a terrible team. Other than like the random Metacham that throws you off guard, her team's very squishy. 4 times weaknesses on Snover and Abomasnow. But other than that, it's just this is how I want Gen 9 to be. I want Gen 9 to bring in to bring in the best that the trainers have with held items, with good natures, good abilities. I really want to see that because the most challenging a Pokemon game can get is when you actually give them a fighting chance. All right, Darren, you said you pulled some stuff up.
Yeah, there was some stuff I really like. The one that you brought up was definitely my favorite. Like Big Root on Lucario is
Yeah.
really smart, and along with Voltner, throw an expert belt on his Octillery, knowing Octillery has insane coverage and can pretty much hit everything. Heck, that thing can learn Flamethrower, Energy Ball. It can learn a ton of things. And if I go over to the Elite Four, I think it was mainly Bugsy, maybe not Bugsy,
Not
Aaron.
Bugsy.
Of course, he has the usual, the scope lens on the Drapion to get all those crits. The Guts Flame Orb Heracross. Wise Glasses Beautifly, so it can hit all the moves it needs to. Like I said, this is kind of a cool thing about because I don't really expect Game Freak to do something like this. Usually
Right.
they kind
And
of
they didn't. Ilka did it.
Yeah, they don't really do it. Now Ilka comes in and says, "Hey, yo, we can make something interesting."
Yeah, they had flame. Yeah, Aaron has that flame orb on his guts hair across. That's disgusting.
And oh yeah, Flint with the citrus berry, with citrus berry to activate Drifloon's Unburden, and it can just set up minimize and baton pass out to a sweeper.
Yeah,
Like that's some annoying stuff right
it's
there.
scary. Yeah,
But
yeah. I think
that's really
Flint's team got wholly redeemed.
Oh, for
With
sure. Go, go ahead.
no, check on, go for it.
Flint's team probably out of everyone got shitted on a lot just because fire
Yeah, two
types
fire
were
types. Yeah,
rare. Only two fire types. But like when I saw freaking Drifloon baton pass into Infernape, I was just like,
my jaw
oh.
hit the ground. I'm like, I've just lost. Instead
I
of
was
minimize, I'm dead.
I was like, I'm not gonna survive a hit from this thing.
yeah.
And lucky enough, I was just like, I was able to dodge, and I was just like, oh, thank God. But I mean, like everyone's team was definitely upgraded to suit the needs of synergy. Like I'll say synergy. All the teams had synergy.
Yeah.
It, like can we talk about freaking Life Orb Alakazam?
I'm looking at it.
Gee.
I'm looking at it right now.
Rematch teams get even crazier.
And it has Magic Guard of all ability. Like, it has Magic Guard. You can't stall it.
Yeah.
You can't stop it. I also led with Mr. Mime, so we both had light clay set up. It was like I was playing on Showdown all of a sudden because we were both trying to get our setup. Obviously, he misplayed a lot by having Dazzling Gleam and Psychic, and I was just all out setup. But it's so refreshing to see borderline competitive strategies in a Pokemon game.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I remember that when first time I fought Cynthia and I saw that Milotic get burned.
Yep, burned. I was like, try me.
Oh.
I said, try me. Yeah, the Marva scale flame orb. So scary. Can we just talk about the fact that Garchomp does not care about fairy types or ice types?
Oh my god.
Holding the Yachi berry with when he poison jabbed me, I was like, no way. He poison jabbed my my freaking grass type. I forget what Pokemon it was. My Cherub. I think it was Cherub. He poison jabbed my Cherub. I'm like, I forgot he had that. Such good coverage. And then his Earthquake would have knocked out my Dialga if I didn't have the friendship values with it. Lived on 1 HP after getting hit by a single Earthquake. I was like, whoa, man. Whoa. I remember Darian said something around the same where it's like, thank God for the friendship buffs, because otherwise he wouldn't have had as much fun.
Those came through a couple of times.
They really did.
Yeah.
My Cherub lived on 1 HP twice in one of those battles. And, say what you will about it making the game easier. It also made the game a lot more exciting to see, like they say it a lot in League of Legends, right? It's random number generating moments that make games exciting. And Pokemon is very notorious for things like paralysis and burn chance and stuff like that. Those are the exciting moments in a Pokemon battle. So all in all, with that being the crutch that kept you from having to rematch the Elite Four 10 times, thank you, Ilka. Thank you, Ilka, for making it so I can enjoy the game and also still get my butt whooped at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
I
final.
definitely agree about the exciting thing. The amount of times I was on the edge of my seat, I'm like, oh, come on, you can live it. Just tough it out for your boy. And it
Exactly.
Would work. And yes.
Honestly, it gave me kind of the nostalgia feels of anime.
Yep.
From the anime.
And that's why they put it in.
Because I was just like, man, just the friendship values and you surviving on 1 HP and your Pokemon looks back and it's like, it toughened it out. It didn't want to make you sad. And I'm like, yes, sir.
It might
My boy.
I'm like, no, don't
My boy. Yeah, I know, right? Just hearing him say that makes me almost tear up. Screw what anyone says, because at the end of the day, it's little things like that that give you stories to tell, that give you narratives, and I think that's the big thing that Pokemon lacks nowadays is those personal narratives, because people don't want those anymore. They want the games to be
Especially,
hard. They want them
yeah.
to be AAA. And like the thing that I keep saying is the only reason why people still buy these games, it's not because of the brand name. It's not because it's just because it's a Pokemon game. It's because there are times where you play, whether it's a Nuzlocke or a normal run, where you just end up having fun by yourself in this little bubble. And I think Ilka did a good job of helping us with those narratives by not only updating the move sets, but also giving, like, as if they were Pokemon fans themselves, right? Giving them cool move sets that would be really hard to play against. All right, so final thoughts on Gym Leaders in Elite Four.
Yeah, all those points were really nice that we touched on. Like I said, it's like the toughing it out thing. I know that divides the people a lot, but you know how they talk about in the Pokemon anime and all the stuff like that, like the bond you build with these creatures and whatnot. I know it sounds cheesy because it's a video game,
Mm-hmm.
but
Power
like you can really, yeah, exactly.
It's
You can really-
storytelling.
yeah.
All right,
Because usually in games like that, without not a lot of story, you have to tell. You can like tell your own and whatnot.
Exactly.
And that really helps with it a lot.
Yeah, and it's like I like to keep continuing. It's the variability, the fact that you can always go in, get a whole new team, and try it all over again a different way. That's why Pokemon thrives so much on YouTube, because people are doing all these different crazy things with the game. It's basically like Minecraft at that point, you know. Check
Yeah,
on
exactly.
anything else?
No.
Okay.
But since we are talking about it, let's go ahead and move on to the following Pokemon and friendship with Pokemon and
Yep.
neutral.
Okay.
Um,
I keep coughing.
I mean, like, it's not bad. Definitely. I'll say one thing for friendship. I kind of wish, like I said before, that it was relegated to, like, you know how we had the Poffins in Gen 6 to choice, not automatically like gaining friendship values. Um, because technically, I guess I'm assuming I don't know how they work, but I'm assuming they combine friendship, like the friendship values together to make the toughening out.
Yeah, they probably
Um,
use just the
with the
base
actual
friendship
friendship
value.
values,
Yeah.
like when you like use return or frustration.
Yep.
Is there a difference between friendship and happiness? Like, is there a difference between
I
those
think
two?
it's the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And
saying.
yeah, in this game it's probably the same thing.
And that's my only thing. It's that having them combine was kind of I I'll say this. I like the fact that you do gain like the friendship like when you have the Pokemon walking around. But if like for example, it's just oh sorry about my throat.
Yeah, it's
Um
fine. It's winter. We're all sick.
um the only thing is that giving at least the player the choice, because just like with the some people who do gripe about it, at least give them the choice the whether or not they want those friendship values to be adding on, I guess.
Yeah, to let them opt out. Yeah, because there were
Yeah,
times where I wanted to opt out for a while.
because sometimes it did happen too often,
Yeah,
and I was just like,
like dodging a move kind of hurts. You know.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just like, oh, the excitement. It's like it's kind of gone when you dodge it. I mean, like
Yeah.
I'd rather you toughen it out, you know. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's my only thing about the friendship in Pokemon.
Hmm.
Following Pokemon,
I didn't do it
definitely,
enough.
I didn't really care. I mean,
Hmm.
like if it happened, like it was probably like a Pokemon that was left out when I like turned it on. But like I
Right.
never went out my way to turn it on, like because I didn't care enough. Like at this
Mhm.
point, it was just like the gimmick about following Pokemon is kind of stupid. I mean, like
Yeah.
yes, it was fun. Yes, it was fun for Gen what Pokemon Yellow and then Gen 2. But it's like, do y'all really care at this point?
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I'll say it was badly implemented in this game because if like I didn't play Let's Go, but I saw clips of Let's Go, and the way they handled the following Pokemon was definitely a lot better.
It's so much better.
Yeah.
Um, like for example, like Torterra and I'll compare because they're kind of like the same size. but Venusaur is a little smaller. Um, Venusaur will walk directly behind you, like run the same speed as you. Yet when you're running around and you got like Torterra following you, he's just stomping his way
Yeah.
like at his
That and like
slow,
Bastiodon is like the slowest Pokemon on planet Earth.
and
It's
I'm just like, okay. I mean, like y'all could have at least let them have like the same running speed. It's like it. Yeah, would it be inaccurate? I mean, yeah, it'd be inaccurate because of their weight. But I'm like, I don't care at this point. I want the Pokemon to follow me, you know. And I heard like a lot of people complaining about size, and I have to agree with that too. It's like if you saw like Gyarados when you put it out, Gyarados is a shrimp. Like,
yeah, that's another thing. Like, if you're gonna implement it, at least try and get the scales good. Cause like Palkia's the same size as you, and like it's like you said, going back to Let's Go. I mean, if you get Kangaskhan, you can ride in its pouch. That's really neat. You can fly on Charizards and Dragonites. Like you can do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But
so I
I'm
confirmed
like,
it. So we could also agree that they did a pretty good job with some of that in the Sword and Shield DLC as well. Crown
oh
Tundra
yeah,
had Pokemon at a much larger scale.
yeah, my boy
Um,
Galarian Moltres.
Now, the
Face.
one thing that those two games have in common, funny enough, that this game doesn't, is Game Freak made the other games with the following Pokemon, and Ilka
Mhm.
made this game. So, ironically enough, for a lot of Game Freak haters, that is one thing that Game Freak has done right. And Let's Go, they probably did it the best. Sword and Shield, it's a little step down just because it's more of a DLC feature. And then obviously in Heart Gold Soul Silver, that's the whole reason why people think that game is worth $200, even though it's absolutely not.
oh yeah,
So
for sure. It's
I think that's the
um
interesting bit. Something that game
yeah.
and obviously Game Freak's gonna get it right again with the next game too. Like Legends
Oh yeah,
Arceus
for
is gonna have
sure.
Pokemon to scale
Oh yeah.
for the most part.
That yeah. I mean, like definitely that was my only thing. I didn't, like I said before, I didn't care about following Pokemon. Like, yes, it's a gimmick. I mean, I guess it's kind of like the same how I feel about Mega Evolution at this point. Um, it's like it's a gimmick, you know. It's if they bring it back, they bring it back, but it's like I'm not gonna cry over spilled milk, you know. It's a feature that can come and go if it wants to, but if I didn't ask for it, I don't really care.
Mhm.
Uh, it's I mean, that's the only thing. I mean, any other points on it?
Yeah, Darren, you got anything else?
Uh, Not really much on the following Pokemon. I actually did find myself switching around just because of the little happiness boost. I'm
Right.
like, all right, well, I walked around with you for a while. Let me walk around, and I'm curious. I'm like, what's walking animation look like? But
Right.
the fact that nothing was really up to scale, and of course, some things were pretty easy to do. Like, of course, Lucardo's Naruto run along with Riolu, but like
Yeah, it's nice.
certain Pokemon, just it's not if like I said, if it's not there, I'm not. Just like Jaquan said, if it's not there, I'm not gonna put up a big fuss over it.
Exactly. Yeah, and I would say the last thing I want to say about it is the fact that now that I'm in post game, it's something that I'm probably a lot more likely to do if I return to this game. The only downside, BDSP has a lot of stuff you can do in post game, but it's only about 2 months before the next Pokemon game, so unfortunately a lot of that's gonna go to waste
Yeah, I that's the
because
one
Legends Arceus
thing
is
I
not only
don't.
longer, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's the one thing I was just really kind of confused with them doing. Like the time frame, it was like putting this game and then another game after, and it's like yeah, you're gonna make money, but it's like why would I spend like basically like how you said you didn't finish, you literally just finished the game,
yeah, because of all
and
the extra
like
YouTube stuff I was doing with it.
oh yeah, but
Yeah.
like just say for example that like you want say you didn't finish the game until like late February, and that's because like even when you were doing the YouTube stuff, you wanted to also capitalize on the Legends
hmm
content.
Yeah. Like if I'm
And
gonna do anything with Legends, it's not gonna be like 3 months after the game comes out.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just like, well, I mean, like, why put it so close to each other? And I mean, like,
Yeah.
y'all could have
I mean,
pushed it
it
a
works
little.
for like career YouTubers, because they do it as a job first of all, so they have editors. Secondly, So I don't think it's that bad for like actual YouTube. If anything, they got a lot more to do because usually it's like we play Pokemon and they drives shiny hunting for 2 years straight for no reason, you know.
Yeah,
Or he's
no,
playing,
no,
or he's on a competitive Pokemon Unite team for until the game comes out, and then I don't even know if he still plays Unite.
I'm not dissing on them
Yeah,
for
no, no,
like, you
no.
know,
I'm
because
just
that's
jumping in with you.
like you said, yeah, that's their job, and I understand that this will help them make more money because it'll give them more content.
Yeah,
Um, because you know, Sword and Shield was literally technically like 3 years ago. I mean, like almost four now. Um, so I understand completely that that having the time between the two games so close was, you know, a decision that they had to make.
right.
Yeah. At this point, it kind of
It's
feels like
not
they were like,
it's
you know
not too
what?
bad, but it does suck because I think we all came into this game thinking it was just a quick seasonal thing, but in
Exactly.
retrospect, if we even wanted to do post game, you guys would have to do all the training that I already did, and that took me a while. It took me like 2 to 3 days. Just the EV
Yeah,
train, let alone the fact that like the IVs are boosted even more, so you probably have to go even further than that and make full competitive teams. You know?
yeah, that was the one thing I was worried about, just because I know from my experience I would have to find the berries that you use to lower their what is it, the e- yeah, or not just the French, the what is it, EV values, battery values. Um, so you can like basically reset, because you know experience share gives everyone the same exact E values. Um, and you know it just balance out. And if you want it, like say, for example, you want it just to get attack, you'd have to literally like train each individual mon on its own,
Yeah.
because you don't want your other mons getting that
The attack
attack
stats, yeah.
EP,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's not the reason that you want them to get that stat. So,
Yeah. Uh
um,
Alternatively though, just before we get rid of this topic cuz we kind of did it to death here. Um
yeah,
at the very least, I think that the method that I used was probably the best method for training since money is pretty easy to come by. They actually just gave me a Ralts chain of 1 before it ended. That's insane. All right. So, I know we don't have any more final thoughts on this.
yeah.
So
I took a break on my chain. I kept getting to 10 with Zubat, and I was like, yeah, I guess one shiny for today, and
nah,
no
dude.
more, no
Nah.
more,
Dude,
no
we
more,
got at least
no,
another hour and a half of us sitting here talking about this
no
game. You
more,
can
no
do it.
more, no more, no
Don't
more.
worry. All right.
Yield.
All right, Darian, what do you want next? What's the
All
next
right.
topic?
One of the bigger changes to come up with BDSP, and a thing that can kind of delayed me from finishing the game. I want to talk about the underground. The underground in the first game, I wouldn't say it was like an afterthought, but like it was one of those things where, like, oh yeah, Diamond Pearl, the underground, that was pretty neat. This game, it's called the Grand Overground, and for good reason, because it got a gigantic, massive overhaul, different biomes and all these chambers that really just made everything a lot more diverse. Pokemon you would never find in the original Diamond and Pearl came up in there. And another thing for some people who really want these Pokemon, there's rare honey tree Pokemon, and you can just find Munchlax just walking around. And for people who want to use a Munchlax or people who need it for their Pokedex, that's a really big boon. And there's also other new Pokemon there like Houndoom, all these other really cool Pokemon you would never see. And Underground, it's a cool little labyrinth kind of area. And like I said, I really got lost in it for a while. I spent one day just completely just sitting in there the whole time. And yeah, the Underground got a really big buff. I enjoyed it. Secret bases were they're okay. I really wish they were implemented a bit better. But overall, the Grand Underground I think was really nice. What about y'all?
Um, I definitely agree. Not many people know, but you know I like secret bases. But I mean, like, I'm not gonna completely complain about it. It's just that if you're gonna do the statue thing, um, make it that I can make the statues actually look cool in a base, instead of just laying like 2 rows of statues just so I can get like a certain type of Pokemon. I mean, That's just like one of my big caveats about it. But other than that, I mean, the underground, I spent like most of my hours down there playing, just grinding or like looking for a certain Pokemon because it's just weirdly addicting. Um, they definitely like knocked it out of the ballpark with like making the underground a lot better because just like, back then, like, yeah, I did the underground just to get fossils and like some items like adamant, like the adamant orb and the generous orb and stuff like that. Um, but I mean, like, just like the one thing that made the underground really unique was the secret bases and kind of like turning those into just like a glorified just statue room.
Like a trophy cabinet kind of thing.
Trophy, yeah,
Mhm.
trophy room. There you go, trophy room. That's a good word for it. Um, it's just one of my things. Um, I was kind of sad that you couldn't have multiple, just because like I would lose track of where my base is, and like like I'll go down, say for example in Heart Dome, and put a base there, and then I'll travel a little farther than I need to, and then I'm like, okay, let me go look for my base, and I can't find it because it's like such a tiny mark on the map. It's like, oh, where's my base? Like, I don't know where to go now.
Yeah, especially if you travel far enough, where depending on what town you're in, depends on what instance of what area of the underground you go in. So if you plant your base down in Hearthome and then go play, you don't do it for long. Say, let's go. What's going on? You pop down in Snow Point. You're in a whole different area of the underground. So you either need to go all the way back to Hearthome and go in the underground that way, or find the backpacker and buy another drill, which costs whatever currency it asks for,
Yeah.
and just plant another base.
To circumvent that, I just bought a couple of driller digger thingies.
Yeah, they're not too
It's
expensive,
not
which
that.
is a good.
It's not too bad,
Yeah.
but I like Jaquan said, I hated running around and trying to go back to it because the default is let me just keep going to different places and try different things. And I mean, well, let's not touch up on like the NPCs just yet because that's for its whole other topic. But I also got pretty addicted to the underground. I did have a lot of times where instead of progressing the game, I was trying to see how far I can get in the underground. I spent a lot of time training in the underground, trying to get different things, and obviously, the later in the game you are, the more reason you have to go back. It was a really fun experience. I could have even gotten an early Ralts if I was paying attention. So yeah, all in all, I like the underground. I think it could have definitely been better, but that's one of, like the big ticket main things in this game. I doubt there's anybody that only logged like 1 hour. People probably ran like 10, 20 easily in that game.
Oh,
They
oh,
did a
for
really
sure.
good job of making it attractive. Not to mention
Oh,
that one shiny, my first shiny in this game was by accident, just in the underground with full underground odds. All right.
Uh, yeah, for sure. I d- oh, one more thing I have to say about the underground. I don't know if it was glitched when I went in there, but I encountered like at least 9 female Rolts before I encountered a male. And I went into like the Cerebi to make sure I wasn't tripping. Like, is this like 50-50? And and it's like, yeah, it's 50-50. And it's like, oh, so I'm just like being like attacked by the game. And it's like, yeah,
you
you
want
want
to
a
go?
male? It's like, you
Oh,
want a Gallade? Nah, poggers. It's like, you're not getting a Gallade. You better get a Carnivore at
That's
that
funny.
point. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. So that's Grand Underground taken care of. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the. We have a lot of bad left, so I
we
mean,
do like the game.
we can.
Though. Don't.
This is gonna be throughout, so we can just knock that out
Yeah.
because we already touched upon one
Yeah.
of the main things. I'm gonna go with glitches.
Mm,
Because by default, glitches are not good. Unless you're a speedrunner, you don't want them in the game.
yeah.
But my main issues with the glitches in this game stem purely with the player base and one specific thing other than the player base. So first on the player base, I watched a video of a guy who soft locked himself in Snowpoint with he didn't use the autosave. He saved after getting stuck using the glitch, which we'll get into why that glitch exists. But it's just crazy the fact that you can one skip the entire gym puzzle in the Snowpoint City gym, and two, if you really wanted to, you could just soft lock yourself in that same gym. That was the only time where it was really that egregious. But the fact that the void is somehow in this game irks me to no end. That was an original Japanese exclusive error that they patched out and fixed with the worldwide releases. But how in the hell? How did Ilka build this game? Did they use Diamond and Pearl to build this game and then they just started messing with everything from there? Because it's absolutely ridiculous seeing people do void cheats like this was 2008. That's the one that really gets me. Not that it's the kind of thing that that's just gonna happen to you, but there's like new ways to do it. I don't know what it is about Gen 4, but if you try to emulate Heart Gold Soul Silver, it messes up immensely. The original versions of Diamond and Pearl were completely broken, and now Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are completely broken because if you really wanted to, you can just start flying through walls and doing all these crazy cheats. What are your thoughts?
So I'll talk a little about what you're talking about. So a lot of those older games, especially Heart Gold and Soul Silver, were running on a different engine for that game, weirdly enough, because there was a lot of movement and when you bring that onto a PC, I for some reason emulators can't handle that, which is weird. But um it's definitely one thing that goes like with what I talked about, like half-hearted changes, where it's like, how did you bring a glitch in a game, like in a new game from like literally from DS to Switch? And like, hopefully it's not like I hope I'm not trying to take this too far, but like for example, the Sonic Colors port from the Wii game that had a lot of it had glitches, but when it got released in October, or what is it, September? Yeah, September.
Yeah.
Last year, it was it had most of the same glitches that it had before, and had more. And it's like, did y'all just like literally was like, yeah, let's take the
Start it
ISO,
over. Just
let's just
straight up.
take the ISO from this game and like put some HD, little saturation on there, gloss, and like stick it on a disc and be like, yeah, this is for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and that's your game right there. And that's how I feel that Ilka kind of did with this. It kind of felt like like so let's just talk about like how the game was technically not finished. You know, it had a day one patch. And I know most games have day one patches now, but like, come on. It's like, why? Why is that necessary? You you waste more time trying to what basically like I'd rather you push. I know like some companies can't push dates back, but I'd rather you push the date back and have the game complete instead of like, yeah, this game is broken. Because like a lot of people buy these games in physical copies, and I know a lot of these patches are online, and some people won't have like the chance to go to like some internet spot at home, or like say they just like they don't have time to like connect to some internet to update the game. Like they're just like stuck basically. Like, oh yeah, um, yeah. So my game's broken, like in a way like that. Um, and it's just like, okay, it's like, why isn't the game just finished in the first place instead of just, yeah, let's send the game out as it is and then we'll patch it later.
People were really tripping over day one patch because people who somehow got their hands on the game early, the game didn't even have music. before the day one patch came out. Like it was completely muted, and I'm like, you guys really not put in the music in the game before the patch? Like, what's going on with that? I know that. Then of course there was the big duplication glitch that I didn't even know about until I saw some videos on it that really split the community. Like, oh, you can duplicate your items in Pokemon and stuff. I don't really care as long as
Yeah.
you don't take that ish
Yeah.
online.
I think HR did
Yeah.
like a full
Do that-
video on that too, right?
Yeah, yeah, he did. That's where I really got my opinion. I was like, yeah, mess around with the game in your own time. Just don't ruin it for anyone else.
Yeah, because like
Yeah.
Pokemon Emerald had that same thing, right? It was had a Ruby Sapphire. I know it had to be Emerald because it was in the Battlefront tier. Like that, like things like that aren't that big a deal because, like I said, like even the Void glitch is something that you have to do intentionally. Like just like usual, right? No matter how many people want to show in the games, Pokemon does not put out games that don't work, right? We have had an absolute advent of disgustingly bad on release games that nobody bothered to quality check. At the very least, right? Game Freak they basically stay in their lane and they put out a good quality game that won't screw you over out of like $60 on day one. That's the biggest problem with Xbox and PlayStation is the fact that a lot of the games that they have just end up not being quality controlled. Some of the big ticket releases, some of these games, Cyberpunk, that have been created over a decade, come out absolutely dog, disappointing some of my best friends, and it sucks. I would hate for that to happen in a Pokemon game. So it's like, even though
I don't feel like that's a stable release.
you know, so like at the very least, thank God that Game Freak handed off the game to a company that wouldn't day one ruin somebody's life. I don't honestly the idea that they didn't, it's not, because to me I buy it that instead of it being, oh, we have to fix the game with a patch, it's more like, let's create a patch, take out, you know, a good chunk of the game, or you know, hold all this stuff off to the side and then have the game go out, and then we'll put the rest in to avoid, you know, certain legal things. Like, I buy that to an extent, but again, it's because I see all these other games and a lot of them just have to be fixed that I can understand. It's like maybe they did have some things that they had to polish or some things that they had to hold off on because it wasn't quite right. I thank God the internet exists, basically. Otherwise, we might be having a whole nother conversation on the bad list. Tell me why this Pokemon game came out and it had absolutely no music.
Another thing, like, I don't really know how much Game Freak helped make this game. I don't know if they did anything. Cool.
Alright, you're good.
Yeah, I don't know really how big Ilka is. I don't really know how many people worked on this game, so I can give them some kind of benefit of the doubt for like a day one patch if things aren't quite ready. But I mean, just some little thing, like the music is what I'm really tripping off. Like, you don't even have music before the patch. Well, I don't know if there's some kind of sound errors or what, but I don't know.
I agree with you.
I really got
Definitely.
lost in it for a while.
But I mean, like Ilka
That's
had like
my
I
only
think they
thing,
had Masuda helping or help, like basically like, you know, like I won't say director but supervisor over the Ilka team, just to kind of like see what they were doing and like, oh, okay, like this checks off this checks off that, this checks off this. Um, yeah, I mean, like I said, this is the only time that this has really happened for this game. Like that it came kind of like unfinished, like with no music and a lot of, like, you know, textures and weren't really in the game yet. And I mean, like, I'm not gonna keep dogging them on it because, you know, this is Ilka's technically first Pokemon game. And I mean, you know, shit happens. I guess like the only thing is just like what I worry about is like if the person gets the game physically, and
Right. And they just don't have any way to fix those things.
yeah,
Yeah. Which honestly, it's only a problem in some minor situations. If this were like Diamond and Pearl release, I could definitely see that being an issue, but it, you know, I think the practice only works because the expectation is set that, hey, even if these people don't necessarily have Wi-Fi, like like compare trying to even put Wi-Fi on your DS or 3DS compared to the Switch, you know. So I think that's
Yeah.
just a lucky bit where it's like I doubt this kind of thing would go on if internet wasn't so absolutely everywhere, you know.
Hmm.
Because like now it's to the point where it's like if your parents have like a phone plan and they have a hotspot, you know those plans are using the hotspot. You just say, "Hey, mom, I need to do this," and you know if your mom's not black, she'll say yes, and then you're all set that way, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else on glitches? Because I honestly don't. There weren't really too many crazy things
No,
that went out.
yeah, I pulled up an article. They're mainly pretty tame. Like you can get to some like certain Pokemon. Like I know you could surf to Shaman or something like that. But the glitches aren't really game breakingly bad.
It's literally just the
So
void from Gen 4 somehow.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, remember when I said I think Ilka are really big fans of Pokemon? I would not be surprised if they're like, "Yo, I know Game Freak wants to do all these events and we got all these plans, but yo, I'm trying to get Shaman day one." It's like, "Oh shit, man, what do we do?" It's like, "Yo, we go to the void." And that's just it was all planned, dude. All according to Keikaku.
Oh yeah.
I
I can.
think, yeah, that's definitely possible.
But
Who
but at the
knows?
same time, don't do that.
Yeah, 'cause I
Dang,
know there was
another failed
I
Ralts
was watching
gen.
I was watching a Call of Duty video back in the day, and back in the day of Call of Duty 4, during the old school mode where you had all the crazier jump height, you can get to all these cool glitch spots and all these cool jump spots to get in different parts of the map.
Yeah.
And when the remastered version of the game came out, they took it away, and there was a good amount of fans who were upset about it because like, oh, we can't get to our favorite spots anymore. But sometimes cleaning up the game for quality of life will be like mess up some of the original integrity, but there are some times where you really just need to clean it up
Yeah.
and make sure everything works as intended.
Yeah. Like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. All right. Jaquan, I think you're up now. Right?
Okay.
I did glitches.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
did. Glitch.
All right.
Okay, let's talk about a good. Let's talk about HM changes.
Yes.
So I'm so glad at this point. Well, I want to say it's been since Gen 7 at this point that they relegated HMs to just like kind of like side Pokemon
Yeah. Gen 7
because
had the ride mons and whatnot.
because I don't like wasting HMs on a Pokemon that I want to use to play. Like I understand, like for example, there's certain moves that I will always have. Like of course, I'm gonna have Surf. Surf is a powerful water type. Um, of course, I'm gonna have Fly. But I just like having some of those inconvenient moves like Rock Climb, which is a normal type move.
Defog, like
The-
defog. not
Um,
not Gen 4 defog.
cut, cut. Um, Rock Smash, which does no damage when you're smashing a rock. I don't understand. Um,
Strength
but
isn't bad. Space 80 power.
oh no,
But
like
like
strength is
str-
probably the
yeah,
best. No,
strength, fly, and surf are literally the only HMs that are like viable
yes,
to use in a battle.
and
And
because
Waterfall.
oh,
Oh, yeah,
and water.
waterfall. I
How
don't
do you
know
guys
about
forget
that.
Waterfall?
It was
You guys were
no,
thinking of
it's not.
Gen 2's inferior Whirlpool.
No, I didn't even know. I wasn't even thinking about whirlpool, so don't do that.
Yeah,
You guys were
that
thinking of
slipped my
shit.
mind. I'm gonna lie.
But yes, the waterfall. I'm just glad they relegated it to the Pokédex because I just don't want to add those TMs to my Pokemon when I didn't have to. Like literally, like from that. If anyone has seen that little Bidoof short, they actually make fun of like Bidoof for being technically an HM
The most
slave.
HM compatible Pokemon.
Like it can literally learn every single move. I'm pretty sure, except Defog.
Except Defog and
And
Fly.
yeah, Defog and Fly.
Yeah,
It
he's
can learn any of those
any of the
moves,
other ones.
and it's just like yeah,
It's the
of
only
course.
reason you ever used it. I feel
I'd be very
yo, imagine, right? Imagine they're like, yo, let's celebrate the Gen 4 remakes by talking about how Bidoof finally gets to be a Pokemon.
yeah, and
Uh,
not
I mean,
just an HM slave.
honestly, yo, Bibero solo run?
Dude,
That would be cool. Honestly.
That would be cool. But yeah, definitely that was a plus. It's been a plus for a few years now, and I pray that they never go back on it because I just
There's
like
no
I
way.
never
There's
like
unless
if they ever do, I would probably drop Pokemon. Like I can't.
Damn.
unless
Just, I mean like I just can't go back to doing that. Wasting a move
a
slot on
good
an H.
Pokemon, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they completely rework the HM system to where you still need like similar to in this game, right? Where it's like you need a certain type of Pokemon around. That's how I thought they were gonna do it.
Mhm.
Um, but like they just completely said, "Hey, you're just gonna grab a random wild Pokemon, have them do your bidding." I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'm down with that. As long as I don't have to teach my Pokemon them moves." I
Yeah.
honestly would love to see a return of HM puzzles more so than that. I think comparing this game to Sword and Shield, that's the one thing that it has over Sword and Shield, where it's like Sword and Shield feels free. You can kind of not worry about a lot of things, but at the same time, there's a lot less to go through, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like HMs aren't an artificial difficulty. There's like certain things that you have to think about. Like even in this game, the best thing about Rock Climb is like that, like the few times where they actually use it like a puzzle, and we have to travel
Mhm.
around to get to a secret item or something. Um, like that's what made HMs pretty cool back in the day. Is the fact that there's like, hey, there's all this stuff that I want to explore, but I have to beat the gym leader first. It tied in really well, and that's one thing that this game has going for it is the fact that because it has that old formula, all they really did was make it, not a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah. For sure. It's I will say this. HMs are not terrible because most of them are good. I mean, other than like Cut, Rock Smash, and Defog. Um, I think what would have been better for me is that maybe like instead of putting it as like the Pokemon's move list, have it be like I guess like what's the word? I guess like a side move. Like it knows like I
Yeah,
guess
like
like
like a ribbon type thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that as like maybe your Pokemon can have like an HM slot and it's completely like in your own party system only. It's just like HM learned, and it's like you click on it, teach it in HM. And it's like this Pokemon, when when possible, can use this move. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
They can limit it to
Yeah.
one if they want, because then you would still have to do the whole HM mechanic. It's just not in a way that's too intrusive.
Yeah.
But completely going on to the other side of that, it's for the best that your Pokemon just you're not stuck swapping your party all the damn time just to do X, Y, and Z. However, um, if it's in a way that encourages you to expand your party and maybe train up some other Pokemon, like maybe teaching a Pokemon in HM increases a stat, and it's like
Yeah.
a non-competitive thing, similar to like the badge boosts. Um, it where you just take your Pokemon like, oh yeah, if I teach my Pokemon strength, it'll also get an attack boost. If I teach it rock smash, it'll get a defense boost. Um a system like that could definitely work. And then that'll also enable all the good stuff that we like about HMs, or I like about HMs. You don't have to like anything about HMs. But yeah, I think that's my piece on it. It's a really we're all probably stupid thankful that they did something about that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, wait. What about Gen 3? What happened in Gen 3? Were there?
What do
Did
you
we
mean?
just? Was the Gen 3 remix just you teach Pokemon HMs again? I forgot.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, there
Mm,
was HMs in that game.
Yeah.
yeah,
There are HMs in that game. I think
it's
the
not that bad in
only
Gen 3 though. Gen 3 is like the only generation where it's not a problem.
I think the only po- only HM I didn't use was Fly, just because you had the Latios and Latios mechanic.
Ah, yeah, that was cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
like you like similar to in Gen 4, you just teach Zigzagoon all your HMs, and then all your problems are solved.
Yeah.
But there's less of them in Gen 3. There's like the least in Gens 1 and 3, so it's not that big a
Yeah, because
deal.
what is it?
You got
Dive,
you
Surf,
in order. It's
uh,
cut rock. It's cut, flash, rock smash. Um, yeah, like strength, surf, dive, and waterfall. I mean, dive, sure. Dive is probably the worst one there.
Should probably flash.
But then this game has freaking rock climb and defog. Like screw you, screw you.
I mean,
I'll take
I mean,
one bad late game HM over like 2 bad late game HMs.
Flash is an OG, so I'm not gonna sit there and like
Yeah,
deny
no,
that.
Flash has a legitimate use, unlike dive
Yeah,
or rock
but like,
climb.
but I hate defog because it's such a situational thing. Because it's like,
It's too. You can't even
oh
use it in battle.
no, it's because all it does is remove all stat changes,
Yep, which
and
never happens in
it's
OG
like,
Gen 4.
and
I
that,
think it just
and that
lowers the evasiveness
Oh, my
of it.
Pachirisu just picked up a Duskstone.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it does all those things, but it also does that to yourself. So it's just like, oh,
Yeah,
what's the point of the move?
it's
Just
like
reset.
let me just nasty plot. Oh wait, but I gotta defog the enemy too.
Did defog even get rid of hazards back in Gen 4?
It did.
Like it does now?
That was its
It
main
did?
use. Oh no, I think we're talking about Haze. Haze eliminates all
Yeah,
stat.
Haze is one that
All
clears
I think
stats.
all defog does is
I
get
think
rid
it
of
just lowers
rocks.
evasiveness.
But it's the same thing though, Jaquan, because you can't set up rocks as long as you have defog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
We were thinking of Haze though. Same thing.
Yeah,
Haze and fog are like the same thing.
no, you're right. It's Haze.
Yeah.
Okay, but no. The reason why I was thinking about it is that it removes like light screen.
Yeah, it removes all of your setup as well as the enemies.
Yeah.
And it's like that
So
was
it's just
only
like-
ever good in competitive, but then like most of the time you're not running it, or you have your stealth rocker / spiker in the front, and it's like maybe late game I'll just defog to save myself. Like I hated that strategy. That strategy is kind of annoying because it really does kind of waste the potential that your team can have.
Yeah.
All right, let's move right along then.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's it for HMs.
Okay.
Mm.
We're
Darian,
on Darian.
Darian,
now.
what you got to choose?
See, going at this, I would like to talk about. I guess we'll go into some of the other things we didn't necessarily like.
Yeah, can I just say
this was-
for music, I'm just gonna play music. So whenever you guys want to do that, that'll be the part of the video where I just throw in the music, and then we can do whatever the fuck we want for that part.
Gotta throw them out, Cornet. Yes.
Yeah, we can all just pick an OST for that one, I guess.
Okay.
All right, Darren.
So I want to one of the other ones. This is very nitpicky. This is one of the ones I added before in like planning this video. Ever since it was introduced in Generation 6, I've been a really big fan of Wonder Trading. The whole mystery thing about, oh, what am I gonna get? Who's gonna send me something? 9 times out of 10, especially since it started in Generation 6, you're gonna get like, I don't know, you're gonna get like fletchlings and zigzagoons. But like there was the chance you can get some really cool Pokemon. I remember one time when me and Jaquan were hanging out the night that Pokemon Bank came out in Japan. We literally wonder traded to like 2 a.m. trying to get new Pokemon that wasn't out over here for us yet. Because you never knew what you're gonna get, who you're gonna match up with. And the fact that Wonder Trade did make it into this game for me is a bit of a disappointment. But it's just like I said, it's not the be all end all. It's just a really cool, it's a fun mechanic that I enjoyed. And it was unfortunate that it didn't make it into the game.
Yeah. It's called surprise trade now. Anyway. I do love Wonder Trade. It was a very fun mechanic because it's just like you said, you never know what you'll get, and it's like regardless, all you have to do is really just catch fodder and just like hope that someone else you don't someone else's fodder and get something kind of good. And like most cases, you get like I remember I think I got like a shiny Aeron, but it just had the wrong ability, or not wrong ability. It had a terrible nature, and I was just like, shoot, I don't care. This is a shiny. It's like, hey, I got it from Wonder Trade. I ain't gonna complain.
Yeah, that happened to me a lot too, where I would get I got a good chunk of shinies in Gen 6 from Wonder Trade.
Yeah, it's a lot of people, were very nitpicky back then. It's just like, yeah, if my shiny doesn't have the stat that I need, it's trash, basically. It's like if it's not adamant nature, if it's not an adamant nature if it's not an adamant nature Gallade that's shiny, I'm like, I don't want it. But I'm like, okay. Say, I'll take it off your hands. I'll just turn it into a Carnivore and we'll have a day like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I would say that the one thing you guys didn't touch on that made Wonder Trade what it um, was as controversial as it's going to be to bring this up. Wonder Trade Wednesday, and what later became known as Surprise Trade Sunday, in the later gens, because some people did bring that kind of thing back. Obviously, Nappy
Mhm.
and his sort of conglomerate at the time dominated that scene. Um, every Wednesday, there'd be people Wonder Trading, and the encouragement was throw in good stuff because everybody wants good
Yeah.
stuff. And like they would breed good Pokemon, send them out, and really dominated the culture of like, hey, this is a mechanic that we can't just throw, garbage at. Let's actually make it worth other people's time. And
Yeah.
that was a big part of like the community part of Pokemon as well. Um, Completely ruined now. Does not matter anymore. Even if people want to do it, it will never be what it used to be back in Gens 6 and 7. Um, so there's a part of me that's like, thank God that Ilka, who couldn't have possibly, I mean, they probably could have, but who couldn't have possibly have thought about, hey, this is a really old thing. People aren't doing it the way they are anymore. Um, but also the fact that this remake never had to begin with makes sense. I would hate for them to try and force it because Gen 6, with Oraz already had that stuff implemented, so it was a lot easier. But they're building the game from scratch in a generation where it's not necessarily the same. So I could totally understand why they didn't do it, but at the same time, like Darren said, so of his nitpicks, and we are all very sad that that's just one thing we can't do anymore. And it's probably not gonna be in Legends Arceus either. Thank God. I don't want that. I honestly don't want this mechanic to just suddenly pop back up.
Yeah. It probably won't be. I know they said there won't be multiplayer, but
Yeah,
I'm
or like
like, this is
internet,
a
but
Pokemon. This is a Pokemon game. I'm like, Pokemon game without multiplayer? Is it really Pokemon
yes,
at this point? I mean, like,
because
I'm just, huh?
other there's other spin-off games that aren't like multiplayer.
No, I know, but like, the heart of Pokemon was always kind
Yeah,
of like,
the trading.
oh yeah, like trading.
Yeah,
It's
That
just
was a
kind of
mhm.
it's kind of weird to be like, yeah, let's make this single player story. And I'm not trying to say that, oh, if it doesn't have multiplayer, then I'm not going to play the game or some silliness like that. It's more of like, I can understand what the directions that they're going in now because they want to try something new, and nothing's wrong with that because,
right.
you know, trying to evolve your series into anything else is, the goal of your series growing. That's the reason why I get like really upset with like people like especially like the Sonic community complaining about like Sonic games changing up things. And I'm like, well, I mean, if they want to change it up because something didn't work in the previous game or they don't want to repeat it, they can change it up. I mean, that's the point of a sequel. I mean, like to change up things, not bring back the same thing and be like, oh, yeah, this is another game, and that's like an example. That's what Johto is. Like, it didn't really bring anything new to the table. I mean, other than what shinies, but it's
Yeah,
like
shinies,
back then, even you could barely
egg
tell it
babies,
was
stuff like that.
shiny, and I mean, like if you knew if it was different, I mean, like they didn't have like that sparkle animation as good as it is now, but
Yeah, I mean,
it's just
all I'm saying is there's a reason we don't have more baby Pokemon. I think is
yeah,
what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
All
know that
right.
was a big thing as well for when Sekiro came out without co-op, because that's a big thing in that community as well. Everyone likes to PvP up in Dark Souls games and co-op with their pals. So that was another thing that they took out, like just a random thing. So like it's weird. It's
Yeah.
not too weird, but it's just kind of strange without it.
And you know what,
But
Darian?
like I said, it's not
Because you
a
said that, I'm
priority.
gonna go ahead and draft online play.
All right,
since
fantastic.
we're very close to that topic.
Beautiful segue.
Perfect segue.
yeah,
Um, Honestly, for this one, I don't think all three of us need to do the same rant. I'll start our rant off, and then you guys just finish it. Um,
okay,
it's absolutely abysmal how for 2 games in a row we have the worst possible. Okay, 3 games in a row because Sun and Moon, and 4 games in a row because because
Oh, the
online.
Ycom was actually not bad. The Ycom was actually
No, the
pretty good.
Ycom was trash, and we have
It
to.
was. It's a shame because that's the best that we've gotten in a long time.
Yeah, the Ycom
so
was
I
the
mean,
best
like
since Since X and Y and Oris, we have not had good online in Pokemon.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's accurate.
the most
Festival
egregious
blog,
part that we
really?
keep complaining about off mic, we've been talking about this for hours. The fact that we just cannot group up properly in the game. The underground's fine. We can do it in the underground, but when it comes to the Wi-Fi rooms and the local rooms, like they completely messed up there. Why do we even have a local room? What is the point of that when Pokemon has far surpassed Wi-Fi? We have not had local gameplay in a Pokemon game since like Gen 4 actually, like Gen 5 maybe. Like Gen 6 you had local but it was still wireless. And even in this game what's the point of doing stuff that that doesn't involve Wi-Fi? It would be so much better if they let us do the whole like what is it called, guys? The thing
Um,
mixing, right? Record mixing. Like, why can't we do
yeah,
record mixing online? Why is it a local only feature? Like, you did that just so kids could bring their Switches to school, get them shits taken, just on the off chance that they actually get to do that mechanic. Like,
Just like that one teacher who took away my freaking DS at
yeah.
middle school for showing my, oh, look, guys, look at the new Mario Kart thing I just got. It just reaches over my silver. Yoink. I'm like, oh, thanks, pal. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
My
Like,
Mario Kart now.
Going back to the Ycom, like how that's the best we're gonna get. Every time when you interacted with someone in the Ycom, if they weren't your friends, they'll go on like a recent list. So if they had something like that, like, oh, you traded with this person, here's a recent list. You want to add them to their group, and if your group was private or maybe you didn't want to force them in, you can say, hey, someone invited you them to your group. Click on here to join, or say you can say yes or no. It's like getting a friend request in literally any other game. Like, you want to join my group? No. All right, fine then. You want to join it? Sure. All right, here's my group. It's it's insane. We're in 2022 now, and Nintendo and any of their companies' games are still like miles behind. Except for maybe like games like Smash Brothers or Splatoon, because they have dedicated lobbies and they work kind of fine. But especially with what Keith and me were doing for a while, we're doing the catch 'em all run. We need to trade each other Pokemon a lot, and we can put in a code and like, oh, this isn't you. All right, let's back out, try a new code. Like it's just frustrating sometimes.
yeah. I mean, it just the whole online just wasn't done right at all. I mean, just I mean, one like you said about the mixing records, it's like, why is that local? It's like, especially, it's like I'm pretty sure they've been developing the game for at least more than 2 years. And
Yeah.
I mean, like online is mostly like a late thing, like in late stage implementing. And it's like, y'all know that we had COVID, right?
Oh,
Like,
that's true. You
and
know
I'm
what?
just
You're onto
like,
something.
Whole pandemic going on. I didn't
it's
even
like,
think about that. Good lord.
Yeah.
so, like,
Yeah.
who's gonna go over to some homie's house and be like, "Oh yeah, let's play locals, bro"? It's
So,
like, nah, bro, I'm
hey,
sick.
I'm here
What?
to join your group.
Like, no, get out of here.
Like, yeah, I mean, like I said, I keep saying this, and I know this is not an excuse, but I mean, this is Ilka's first Pokemon game. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not gonna keep dogging on them like, yeah, Ilka's trash. They don't
Yeah,
know how
because
to
they
make
because they
games.
did some things good. It's not like we can really compare them to how Game Freak does things because the game it's based on is over 10 years old. But you know,
And it in the game,
we have a lot of things that we like about how they handled it.
oh yeah, and first of all, they were basically remaking a game that was already kind of broken.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, it's
Yeah,
we talked about this earlier, but you know,
Diamond and Pearl are by default the worst DS Pokemon games.
yeah, yeah, we talked about this before. I mean, like I said, a lot of changes that like the third generation. Well, I'm about to say third generation. The third, I say the third single title games did are make good changes to the, like, you know, to the game's mechanics.
Yeah, just be definitive
And
versions.
yeah, and it's like I heard someone like talking online talking about like, I mean, like, if I'm gonna play either Brilliant Diamond or Platinum, I'm gonna play Platinum, and I'm like, okay. I
Why
mean, like
though?
you can't. It's like, I mean, I guess you can, but it's like there's a lot of things like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl still does a lot better than Platinum. But yeah, I can understand that there are certain mechanics that they did introduce and did fix a lot of things.
Yeah, that
And this kind of segues into my next topic.
yeah. What's your next topic?
Post game Pokemon.
Nice.
Uh, two Pokemons that you literally can't get. Well, you can get one of them, but the other you can't get until you get to Iron Islands, which are Gliscor and Weavile. Uh,
Yeah.
if you want to use a Weavile before the 8th gym, uh, too bad,
Yeah.
because that Razor, what is it, Razor Claw?
Yeah. It's
Uh,
in the battle
is
area.
Victory Road.
Yeah.
Victory Road.
No, that was in the
And you're
battle
not.
area.
No, it's in Victory Road. You
Oh,
can
is
get
it
it
in
in
Victory
Victory
Road?
Road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I remember
And
I picked both of them up. One of
yeah,
them,
there's two.
the other
You
razor
know, there's
item is in the battle area.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, the Razor Claw you literally don't get until Victory Road. And I was just like, dang, it's like y'all could have let it be like how it was in Platinum. I'm sorry, let me not keep saying that, but Platinum had the Razor Claw in Cyrus's office because he had a Weavile as one of his aces.
Yeah.
Um, and it gave you early access because I think that was at least what after the 7th gym that you go to
Yeah,
Cyrus.
it's actually not that. Yeah, it's not that bad. It's around the time you fight Candace is when you do all that stuff. And
And
then
it's like at that
once you beat Candace, you can beat Candace and then the way I did it, I beat Candace and then finished it up before I did the 8th
yeah,
gym. So you can do it all before the final gym. You can
yeah,
even do it before the 7th gym. I'm pretty sure.
yeah. So it's just like there. I mean, like some Mon that should be available. Like for example, Leafeon and Glaceon. It's like those are post game Mon because EV is in Trophy Garden and you don't get to find an EV until post game. Another new Mon, Rotom, don't get until post game. It's because I remember I was setting up my team because I was like, oh, I'm gonna get me a Rotom, and it's like
Bro, the
yeah,
beat beep.
and yeah, it's like nah, you ain't getting no Rotom, fam. That's post game, big fella. And it's like, oh, okay, I didn't want an electric fire type anyway, with levitate and overheat, and then Spirit Tomb. It's like, come on. It's like literally it was you had to go underground and meet like 30 people.
Oh wait, yeah, wait, hold on. Maybe I should.
And what was it 30?
Oh yeah,
30?
yeah. Maybe I
30 is
should
right?
because you guys were good. You guys aren't stupid like me and actually knew you. Hey, I don't have to actually catch Spiritomb. So I know you guys probably read on survey, but the way that they set it up is fine until you realize how limited it is to actually run into certain people. So Austin John Plays made a video on it. I don't know if you saw that one, Jacon, but in it he talks about how when you find where one of the spots are where the NPCs spawn, you probably get about 2 or 3 of them at that point. But the
Mm.
problem is some of them actually have a higher spawn rate in certain areas, and one of those areas just so happens to be the post game Battle Frontier area. So unless you somehow find out how many you need and where they all spawn, which you shouldn't be doing, the only way to get Spiritomb is through post game. You have to go through all the different areas of the underground, find every single NPC and talk to them because they have just about as many NPCs as you need in order for the odd keystone to summon Spiritomb. And
Yeah.
it's really a shame because that was another thing that technically was not a post game thing. You could definitely do that before with just having you and your friend go underground and meet a bunch of times. They complete that, something that we completely ignored about the underground, but fits in here. Spiritomb is the fact that you can't even really communicate with people in the underground.
Oh yeah,
They have very limited options. I don't think any of us know what any of them do, other than
no,
just be glorified emotes.
you can't like I know most of the emotes kind of relate to you finding like spots in the wall,
Yeah.
or you found a Diglett, and there's no actual way to communicate. Like you can't type anything, you can't and you can't customize the emotes because they happen like automatically or like sometimes, and it's like that's one thing that I wish they cut and improved on because it was like everyone's in underground. It's
Yeah.
like if you wanted to say something, you should be able to say something, but it's like, nah.
And the limited Wi-Fi really cuts it there too, because one of the more prevalent 3DS features was the foreign languages, and how they integrated them and added like different foreign Pokédexes. That was a big thing, especially in Sword and Shield. Um,
Mhm.
like you can't do any of that stuff in this game, and I think it's a huge missed opportunity when you can actually properly do Gen 4 Spiritomb, and they're like, let's just not do Gen 4 Spiritomb. Let's make it all local.
Yeah.
But
Usually with these big
other than that,
remakes and stuff like that, they improve it. I know, like in original Sun and Moon, you couldn't get like Crabominable till really late in the game, and then they're like, "All right, well, how about we make it here now?" Same with God, what's the name of that Pokemon? Vikavolt. They were really late in the game, and then in the Ultra Sun and Moon, you get them much earlier. So like some of these things, just a little, like I said, some quality of life changes. Maybe you can get some a little earlier now than usual, but usually with those games, they usually tie those loose ends up.
And I no, I agree. It's also I was talking about earlier is that they it felt like they're backtracking, not like those quality of life changes that they made in those later games, and but don't like implement them all like completely in like a remake. Kind of just hurts the remake because it's like, oh yeah, I mean oh yeah, this remake looks amazing and everything, but what happened to when I was able to like get an Eevee like literally before post game? Like I don't to finish the game to get an Eevee and use that Eevee. Or I mean or even the Rotom, and it's like, yeah, I don't know why they would make those choices, but I mean it's said and done now at this point.
You what it is.
It is what it is.
Darian, go ahead. What would you like to talk about next?
Let's
We're
see.
winding it down. Let's go.
Here we are. We're getting there.
I'll do contests next, so you can skip that one.
Okay, that works. One we can do and talk about is the art style. I know everyone when these new upgrades, these games come out, especially like nowadays with remasters and everything like that, they want the game to look as nice as possible. You look at Resident Evil 2 remake, you look at all these other games that come out looking as pristine as possible. They wanted to go a little different approach. They wanted to do like the original kind of design wanted to like base it off of that. I personally liked it. Of course, everyone wants to see the old games that they played when they were younger look as pristine and as good as possible. Like if it ran in some kind of other engine, but I do like the little approach they took to like keep it look as faithful as possible to the original games that came out on the DS. And I think if you look at things like the way the water looks, and then you go to places like Floroma Town, I think it looks really nice, and I think they did a good job on the art style and the graphics in general.
Oh yeah. Um I can understand how some people did feel. Oh god, how some people felt about the chibi designs because I guess the reason why some people were kind of upset is that it's like how how do you keep the models that you had from Gen 6 to Gen 8 at this point and then go back down to like chibi? Because I know a lot of people was expecting it to be like, oh, it's gonna look like. Unfortunately, it's gonna look like Sun and Moon, like not Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, and I'm like, okay. I mean, if if it's as linear as it was back then, I don't think it would have been a problem. But and I mean, like honestly, like we were talking about earlier, if it had looked like Let's Go, I would been heavily fine with it because I mean, it's like yeah, it looks like Let's Go, but like Let's Go art style is I mean, pretty good. I mean, if I could say so myself.
Yeah, it's a nice looking game.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, the main thing I didn't like about the art style, um, was just the fact that they, like I was saying before with, I think it was glitches, um, they really didn't make it feel like it fit on the Switch sometimes. Like so, like depth, control, stuff like that, and I know controls is up there, but um, it's just as good as it looks and as polished as it was, and I'm happy we were with it. Honestly, the best parts of it and the worst parts of it were just being in battles because it's such a massive contrast, just like it was in the original game. But because of how nice everything looks now, it feels like you're playing two completely different games in the overworld and in battle. While like with the DS era, it's just like, oh yeah, we have this going on, and then we also have this going on. And the transition wasn't as bad because the graphics were toned down a lot. But they do like full 3D. It's
Oh,
weird. It's weird. It's like
oh,
going from a DS game to the Switch game, and sometimes it didn't
oh
really.
no,
Yeah,
no. I'm sorry. I do agree on that.
yeah. It's something
Because
I don't think we've thought about too much.
oh yeah, because like there's like I think it's if you're in a rocky grass area or mountain area, I think that's like a mountain battle scene. That's probably like one of the most gorgeous battle like backgrounds I've
Hmm.
ever seen in this game.
Yeah.
Especially like compared that with that in the when you were battling on the ocean are probably
Yes.
one of the
Those-
two prettiest scenes.
Anytime I fought Team Galactic, I'll say I was happy.
Oh yeah.
Osiris battle area as well, with this galaxy and
Yeah,
stuff
they
swirling
change. Yeah,
behind.
they change it up for all the different members.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it just I really appreciated it looking like that, but like no, I agree. It was kind of weird for them to go like, "Oh yeah, we can do these large models of like these characters." But when it comes to like the actual end game world, let's do chibi because like there's a lot of people that like made fun of like a character like Cyrus
Yeah.
that
The
just
Cyrus
looks
space. Yeah.
and it was like I feel the same way. It's like Cyrus looks completely weird as a chippy art style.
Yeah.
And
He loses
Go
all
on.
of his intimidation factor.
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Like the one scene I keep thinking about is the one where he just turns and faces you and makes
And
like the
what?
most like he's like what?
The
And
red
and like
chains are
all
broken.
and then like I keep like talking in my head like, oh, this man's like what's going on, bro? Like what why you have to break the chain, fam? Like, jeez. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I say they could have met halfway and did Let's Go. Um,
Yeah. Or they could
just
have.
because like Let's Go is not chibi, but it's like kind of like that cute style where not everyone is
It's
full
like an old
model. Like
fashioned kind of deal. For Pokemon, for like a Pokemon game, it looks more old fashioned. Where
yes.
it's like the
Um,
quality is purposely, relaxed, but then they also
y-
made it feel more 3DS era.
yeah. I think
They probably should have
if
gone 3DS era as a good like
yeah
middle ground.
yeah for sure.
And
I
they
do think
kind
what
of
they
did,
should have
but then
did
they really went in on the TV. All right, you're good. Keep going.
um what they should have did was Let's Go should have looked like Diamond and Pearl, and other way around.
Yeah.
Just in my
Yeah.
opinion, just
Yeah.
because I feel like Let's Go could have survived
It would have
being on a
pulled it
chibi
off.
style because it's Gen 1,
Yeah.
and that I feel like that would have had more of a nostalgia feel for being in chibi style.
No, that's perfect.
But and I'm just saying, that it just like Let's Go's graphics would have worked a little bit better for Diamond and Pearl, just because like the quality between like the backgrounds and everything, and
And like
then
following Pokemon.
back into the end game, it's like, oh, the transition is seamless and
Yeah.
not like jarring like it is now.
Yeah, because in Sword and Shield, it all felt connected really well.
Yeah,
and that's like the first real Pokemon game on Switch.
yeah,
So
Yeah,
yeah,
that
and then
makes
Legends Arceus is going to be just like Sword and Shield, so it's perfect. But the
yeah,
actually, it's even technically even more seamless because you don't even have a transition. You're just like, all right, now we're gonna zoom in and focus on the battle. You know.
yeah,
So yeah, I would say my main thing is they should have probably gone with the way it looks in battle as much as they could
yeah,
because it looks
for sure.
because the game's great. The game's amazing. There's no major complaints. It's just there after you actually play the game, there is definitely a disconnect there between the two. It's not noticeable until you actually talk about it.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. All right, Darian, anything else?
No, basically everyone pretty much hit the nail on the head there.
Okay.
You know,
Um.
we had the good graphic style and whatnot, but still just sort of like you said, Sword and Shield being much more seamless, and with Legends coming out, literally everything is not really much in the way of just blocking anything, just straight up like, hey, well, you want to toss your Pokeball out and start battling and
Yeah.
everything.
Oh, real quick, real quick. I saw a video. He found like one of those enraged Pokemon, like somebody playing Legend Arceus.
Alphas or whatever they're
Yeah,
called.
like and he found like a rapid dash. He snuck up on it. He threw a Pokeball, right? And when he finally like hit it with the Pokeball, it immediately knew where he was and charged at him. I was like, "Holy shit, that's terrifying."
The game looks, it's gonna be cool.
It's
I'm
gonna be cool.
excited.
So really quick, because somehow I did manage to play some contests after beating the game. Um, I took my evolved Feebas, I took my Milotic, and I did all the beauty contests just to try it out. And I have one positive, one negative, just for contests. Wow, we are so far into this franchise. We have had Pokemon contests multiple times. This is the only time I've ever seen a contest where the Pokemon don't even move. They just don't move. They're static the entire time unless you activate your move and then they do their normal battle animation. Such a fucking waste. But everything else about it is fun. Going all the way up to master rank, the game does get harder. You should be able to beat it. It's easy enough for a child to master it, and it's hard enough for an adult to still be challenged by it. I love the fact that they do it on the beat and stuff. I don't think I ever did contests in Diamond and Pearl, so maybe it was exactly the same, and maybe my point is moot. Sorry. But overall, I could tell you guys, and I could tell whoever ends up watching this, contests are a solid 5 or 6 out of 10. Definitely worth doing as a little side quest because you get stickers and stuff for your ball capsule. Um, but other than that, it's a real shame that they just don't let your Pokemon move. It's a fun little Guitar Hero esque thing, but yeah, I mean, as much as we talked about it in our first video on this, it really is a shame that they didn't make it more exciting. Uh, so yeah, we are down to our last like 4 little things. Technically, wait, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Technically 4 because we talked about the honey tree. Um, just quickly, the only thing that we didn't mention was Heracross. Do you guys know if Heracross is in the Grand Underground?
I
You
I think
will give a
I
look.
I think it is.
It's that Pokemon and Burmy are the only two that I never saw in the Grand Underground. Um, but that that's whatever. So go ahead, Jaquan. Um,
Um,
if you pick
I guess.
music, we just mention our music, and then there's just the other ones.
Um, no. Let's try to save music for last or something like that.
Okay.
Um, evolutionary stones. I'll do that.
Okay.
I can
Yeah, that
confirm
one was yours.
Heracross does not spawn in the underground. It
Yep.
does not.
See, it is a
Oh, wow.
treat, and Burmy too probably are both just pure honey
Yeah,
tree encounters, which is more annoying,
but
honestly.
yeah, evolutionary stones. Is the same case with like how you can't find certain items. There's literally only one of each item I'm pretty sure like there's one Dust Stone, there's one Dawn, there's one Shiny, but Fire, Water, and Earth you can, or even Moon, you can find in the Grand Underground. You can find them. I think you can find them in the department store. Not the Moonstone, but like
Standard
in
fire, grass, water ones.
yeah. But let it be any special stone, like a Dawn Stone or a Dust Stone, you're not finding that until like later on in the game. Like more of like if you like my team, I had two Dawn Stone users, which were Frostlass and Gallade. It took me forever to decide on which one I was evolving first because I was just like, okay, who needs it first? And I was like, okay, maybe Gallade. And the Dawn Stone, lucky enough, I was the only reason why I was able to get it, the second one, is that I had to go in the Grand Underground and go to like the farthest room in the right when you go to Snow Point and find it like in the corner
Right.
sitting in a Pokeball.
That's good.
And I'm like, okay,
So
that's fine.
you found them in the end.
I did find them in the end, but the thing about it is that like there's no way like for example if no one's going underground like the whole time they wouldn't know that they're in these hideaways like
Right.
I'm not saying that like I'm pretty sure most people spend at least an hour like we talked about earlier
Yeah.
in the Grand Underground. If you didn't explore, I don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah, but even then, you
uh,
you only really get like the base stones a lot. Like I got a crap ton of just fire stones, and I got a few leaf stones and thunder stones too.
yeah
Yeah.
um but there's some areas you can't access until later on
Yeah.
like I said, if you want, like I wasn't able to evolve Honchkrow until like I want to say after my after the third gym
Yep.
when I really like needed him to be a Honchkrow. Because the area where you find the Dust Stone is when you go to Wake's gym, and at that point it's like you can get there, but you'd have to go all the way around and then skip Maylene, then go all the way down, fight trainers, get past the lake, and then go all the way back. And I was just like, yeah, no.
Yeah. I was gonna mention the pickup method that ended up being the most useful. The same thing happened to
Oh
me.
yeah.
I traded Darien for Misdreavus. But then I also had the Murkrow, so I can only really evolve one for the Pokédex. I still haven't evolved Mischievous now that I think about it. I can now because I have so many Dusk Stones. But the main thing to talk about, and I'm just gonna close it off for what I'm gonna say with this. And then you guys can go back to what you were talking about with Evolution Stones. But the problem with the pickup method is that, like Jaquan was talking about, it's a very late game thing. If your Pokemon are between the levels of like 40 and 70, you have about a 4% chance to get one of those stones. Other than that, it just starts going, up, and there's all this other stuff that you can get. So unless you have
I
literally end game Pokemon, you're really not getting your hands on these stones.
yeah. I remember looking it up because I also used the pickup method to get most of my stones as well.
Mm-hmm.
You for you to actually get a high rate of like those stones, like highest rate you can get is like 10%. And
Yeah,
for
that's
you
like
to
level
even get
100.
that, your Pokemon has to be level 100. That means it has to either it because there's only two Pokemon will pick up, which are Pachirisu and Munchlax. And you would have to
Oh,
get
and
them to level.
Apom and Ambipom.
Oh, and Apom. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there might be a few
Apom and
others, but though I actually did have Ambipom, and you had Munchlax.
I mean those Pokemon had pickup, and like I remember I had to like literally just use a whole team of Pachirisus and Munchlax just so I can have at least a what I want to say like 60% chance of getting something each time. And I mean that's good and all, but when you have to catch a repeat of a Pokemon just to get a certain item that there's no guarantee that you can get at that point if you got like Pachirisu or Munchlax to at least level 30 or 40, you only have like such a low chance of actually getting that stone that you need. So it's just like, why I got to go through all this effort for just a stone that should be either I can buy it at the store or it's available early.
It's
I
maybe like
mean,
a dowsing machine. Like do something with that too.
yeah, that I mean,
Gives me the Gen 2 vibes. Hey, you want this stone? Yeah, go do the bug catching contest or talk to this random bug catcher. Where if you go back to them, they may have it in their inventory because they find items for you.
yeah. But I mean, that's all I gotta really say about evolutionary stones. I mean, just make them a little easier to find
Yeah.
And more
and not
accessible.
Or at the
or
very
more.
least, give you a meaningful way to get them outside of
Oh
that
yeah,
before post game. But
yeah,
I mean, like it sucks, but at the end of the game, that is kind of one of the post game esque kind of things you do. But it doesn't add playability to the game, so stop doing it.
oh yeah.
All right. So, Darian.
Well, we're down to the final few topics.
Yeah, if we save this one for last, it'll be between these two.
Which two?
uh, these two.
All right, so guess we can talk about the remixes. Everyone loves to hear about the remixes.
No, that
and the
was
new
one we were gonna
Pokemon.
save, but it's fine.
Oh, is? Oh,
Yeah,
you
go for
click.
it.
All right. All right,
Yeah, I'll
well,
try.
cool.
Yeah, I should have made more obvious.
It's all right. I think the music in this game's really well done. The remixes are very good. Cynthia's battle themes always sounds great. Mount Cornet's probably my favorite.
I'm trying
It's
to
a
find my
very
favorite right
mysterious
now
vibe
because I have
to
a
it.
lot of these downloaded.
Mount
Right now.
Cornet's definitely number one. That's my boy right there.
Yeah, we were talking about Mount Coronet earlier.
For me, it has to be Jubilife. Like Jubilife to me is just like so nostalgic, especially like at nighttime when it's like a little softer. And it's just like it reminds me of like the times like when I'd be in bed playing like
Yeah,
on my DS,
that's true.
and then I walk into Jubilife City, and it's like, dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun. And it just to me, it has to be one of my faves. But like Cynthia, all time favorite as well. You can't beat that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. For me, I have a number one and a number two. The number two is Great Marsh. Great Marsh is something I wish they used for something else because I'm never there. But it comes in with like this hype bongo beat, and then it just goes back into normal Pokemon from there, and it's just great all the way through. My number one is actually Heart Home. You know that an instrumental song is good when you try to put lyrics to it. That's sort of where I'm at with this song. Like I have like little tunes and little songs that play like the song is singing to me. Like it's a song that really reaches me. It fits Heart Home. You know, it's the city where you do the contests. You meet Fantina, and it really does feel like a song that it's inspiring as well as I'm not gonna say hopeful. Hopeful's not the right word. It's like inspiring and inviting. I want to say that's how I feel about Heart Home City's theme.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously, the writer has to fucking put in all this extra poetic shit to it, but that's how it works. All right. I'll tackle controls because that's probably my biggest gripe with the game.
Yeah.
And it's mostly just the joystick controls. To sum it up, because I've mentioned it in what would be my most recent videos of the time of us recording this, and I've probably mentioned it about one or two other times in the series. The main problem with this game, above everything else that we've talked about, what I consider to be the worst thing in this game is the fact that they did not properly optimize this game for gyroscopic controls. Now, Gen 3's Oraz is the best remake, and the reason why I can definitively say that now is because this game cannot handle not gyroscopic. I keep saying gyroscopic. Cannot handle like the joystick or the Joy-Con, like full range of motion.
3D motion.
Yeah, like the full range of 3D motion.
Yeah.
They integrated it perfectly in Oraz to where you can sneak. They added a whole sneaking mechanic, was never seen before. And you were able to just like sneak up on Pokemon. You can use it with the Dex nav. It was perfect. But in this game, if I even attempt to use it and then go back to the joystick, I'll be so far off center that I could, like, for example, I've been shiny hunting the whole time we've been doing this, and if I use my joystick at all, I might mess up the entire thing. You know, it's really bad when you can't control the motion between the two, like the D-pad and the joystick. Like, this game has a really big problem. Not to mention the Snowpoint City gym puzzle skip is because of the full range of motion. Soft locks because of the full range of motion. A lot of problems that the game had is just because of the controls.
Yeah, that is true. I think this, funny enough, this has been present since like Gen 6.
Yeah.
So, because some games, like, I don't like. So you remember the skating in Gen 6?
Yep. There was
I
things,
feel like
yeah.
it's still present in this or I'm about to say or as still present in BDSP,
Right.
because one thing when I feel is like when I go into D-pad and then switch to like the
Like the
joystick,
Yeah.
I feel like I jumped into like another plane. Like, if you get what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
literally.
So, and I'm just like, okay, that's weird. And like one of the worst things I hated, and I messed this up like 3 times when I was in Mount Cornet. So you know that area where you have to go up the stairs to get to the mountain part.
Right.
Like, after like basically going to Spear Pillar. And you have to make sure you don't jump off that ledge.
Right.
And God, if you manage to use that joystick, props to you, because I went straight to D-pad, and still, even when I went to D-pad, I would tap it and I jump off the ledge.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like if you're going through Victory Road and you have to be very careful of how you move, you're not touching that joystick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really hard to like control anything in that game. Like, it's just that you can make like the slightest mistake and it costs you, like, especially like shiny hunting, it can cost you
Yeah, it
like
costs you everything.
hitting the wrong type of grass or misclicking, and it's just like, oh, well, I fucked
Yeah.
it up already. So
Yeah,
it's
because
like at
like
that point.
the 3DS games, I think even Sword and Shield had like a good range of like sensitivity with it. So where it's like you can actually
And
walk and run, you know?
yeah,
Or like in
and
the
I think
case of like Auras, like you can sneak and then sprint.
and I think that's just because of the way the game was built.
Yeah.
And I don't think, even like, since this is a tiled, I'll say, yeah,
Yeah, it's
this
tile
is a
based.
tiled based game.
Yeah, tile
And
based mapping.
and it just 3D, like, I'm not gonna call it 3D. Eight-way motion is a good word to say.
Yeah.
Does not work on on a tile system like this,
Right.
because that 8-way motion is meant for, like, being able to automatically turn around, do circles. And it's like, if the game's not built for that, it's just not gonna work.
Yeah.
And it's like, I understand that you wanted people to move faster and everything, but it just, honestly, like, when I feel it now, it just feels kind of wrong. It's like, to me, like I said, it felt like Gen 6 kind of all over again. Like when I use the joystick, I'm running,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, even when I'm running, I feel kind of like slippery, and I'm just like,
Feels slippery
okay.
and dirty.
And it's like, especially when I'm doing the radar, I never use joystick, because there's just
Yeah,
no way you're gonna accurately hit the grass that you're trying to go for,
exactly.
because you're just like running around in diagonal on a tile on a tiled plane. So
Yeah.
that's all I have to say about that. The controls.
Yeah. Any quick thoughts on that, Darian?
No, nothing crazy. The only thing I don't like about I don't know if this really ties into controls, but the collision
No,
seems a
that's
bit exaggerated.
100% the main problem. Yeah,
Oh,
that's 100% the main problem.
yeah,
Yeah, you collide
yeah.
on it. I'm surprised we didn't mention it.
Especially going through the underground. Oh my lord, I
Yeah,
would hit every single
you
wall
you
trying to
hit
cut the.
everything, but it's like like Pokemon games kind of were like that, but like with like old D-pad Game Boy era stuff, sometimes you would just like mash the button too much and you would just stand at a wall and walk into it over and over again.
Oh yeah. I think that you mentioned the underground. That is a culprit too, because man, when I'm like trying to run away from a Pokemon I don't want,
Yeah, sometimes.
and I get like caught on a rock,
Yeah,
and it's because there's like a visible like wall or barrier
yeah.
around the
And
rock,
it's like the
and I'm just like,
it's like
and I,
Microsoft Paint, where it's like you go and like you try to be very sensitive about the edges of stuff, and then you just end
Mhm.
up just creating this massive barrier. Yeah. I was gonna
Yeah.
say, because you just reminded me. Sometimes the exact opposite happens too, where you just bug out the Pokemon based on how you're moving.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. Uh, real quick, because my earbuds are starting to slowly die, and that's what I'm using
Okay.
to get
We,
the
I'm
fuck.
about to say we can wrap it up with this character
Yeah, character
customization.
customization, and then
Okay.
we'll give like a artificial
A
numerical value to the game.
yeah.
Uh,
Customization. It was straight. I mean,
it was
it
okay.
could have. I mean, it was straight. I mean, honestly, I preferred that they just did what Oraz did and not let me customize at all. Because
Yeah,
giving me the option is just like, oh, it just tells me that y'all could have did something, but you chose not to.
right.
And I think Darian mentioned this like a few like back when it came out. Um, being able like to change the color palettes um on the costume that you change.
Right.
Like just in case like if you went online and you met someone who had the same costume and you can
Yeah.
wear a different color and make it more unique. And it's like then
Well,
I
the
can be
good
like,
news is they
okay,
took out online, so we don't have to worry about that.
yeah. But this was back when I thought like online was actually a thing.
Right.
But um I was just like that would have made the customization more thoughtful and like played out. And I'm like, it's like honestly, there shouldn't have been a shop at all because I know that was the gambling store.
Right.
You know, they
And
don't do the
they
gambling
probably that was
anymore.
probably the best thing they could have replaced it with, because they could have just had it be
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah. And I was just like, honestly, I wish it was just nothing because what I wish is that they created like a closet in your room and then give you the option to switch into platinum outfit and that's it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'd be
Because
like, okay,
honestly,
that's
the
fine.
fact that they put platinum outfit out and they gave it to you, so as soon as you get to Bilston, you can just equip. That was cool. I wore
Yeah.
platinum outfit obviously through the whole game. I'm sure you guys wore it through most of the game too. But my biggest gripe is the fact that it's not the fact that they did it so limited, but we have so many limited options. It's cool that they have full costumes. We were all on board with full costumes, but honestly, when you look at it, it does come down to it being sort of lackluster.
Yeah.
Darren?
Like
Oh,
oh, go,
yeah, yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's see, Darren, has any thoughts
honestly,
first?
they didn't really go. They didn't really go too crazy with the customization. They added some cool outfits. I
Yeah,
did
Cyber
think they
Style's
were a
cool.
little pricey. Honestly, I think like the most expensive was like 100,000, which
Yeah.
it's not the
Oh
worst thing in the
wait,
world, but
have you guys checked since post game to see if we got anything new? Because usually post game unlocks more
I
stuff.
don't think I don't.
No,
Yeah, I
I didn't
think I
check.
checked. I don't think we have anything new.
Okay,
That's one of the first things I checked.
yeah.
I think it's still just like
I
that
want to look
poke
like
style. Or
Cynthia. Damn
whatever.
it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's cool to get the character customization on with the clothes. We can finally change our skin color in this game, which is always a
It's
nice
yeah.
touch.
Although I
Being the
did
standard
mention,
protagonist, it makes the game more personal.
yeah, I was gonna
It
say I
gives you
did mention at some point it's really awkward in this game though. At the same time, because
Yeah,
yeah,
it's weird to
everyone's
see
so
your character.
Japanese.
Yeah, it's just weird to see your character. Like, I mean, like I guess that's why I was saying that I wish they just did the Oraz approach, where it's
Yeah,
just like
where it's just
leave
the same
because these are
character, maybe
yeah,
looking
it's
a
like
little different.
for the remakes, leave it the same character because I mean, this character has a name and like I can understand now after Gen 6 because Gen 6 was the first game to do it and the protagonist is, protagonist. Anyone could be that. But the protagonist of every game before Gen 6 has a name. I mean,
Yeah.
like they're an actual character. Like Hugh, Red,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what is it?
Hilbert, great
Gilbert,
job,
Hilbert.
Brandon,
Hilbert.
Helbert, Brandon. I mean, May, Don, Lucas. I'm just saying they're all characters,
Yeah,
and I just would have preferred that they
they
just kind
stuck
of
with it
left them as
because
they are.
it's funny how you say that because Auras was the very next game and it's like, yeah, no, fuck you. wait,
Because,
wait until Sun and Moon.
yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah,
because I'm sorry.
no, no, no,
Because I was like I was one of the people that complained the first time why they didn't just add the customization,
yeah, in Auras,
but
yeah, we all complained about
but
that, I'm pretty sure.
but like later on, I kind of see it as like, you know what, it's a remake, and it kind of like I'd rather them actually just leave it as that character because that 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 per you know I hate saying it weirdly, that character is a character.
Yeah,
It's a character of their own, so I'd rather not be
you,
like, oh, let me
them,
change his
yeah,
skin color to pure black
yeah.
man with
Hey man,
brown eyes. I'm
don't
like,
say that to the African American community because they hate not being represented in every single thing that ever existed. Same thing with
yeah,
women.
apparently.
Same
It's
thing
like
with
I'm
women.
black. It's like I'm African American. I
Yeah,
don't care.
like
It's
real
like if
human
you care
beings
about
don't
that
care about
stuff,
that stuff. Yeah,
it's like if you really care about that, I'm like, okay, that's
I
you,
I
bro.
would
But
I would rather pretend to be another Japanese boy in Japan rather than be the only black guy in Japan. Uh, that's it on that topic. So boys, give me your artificial numerical values out of 10 for this game.
out of 10, okay. I guess I'll go first. I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay, fancy pants. The point fives. There's always that one guy that goes for the point five. Yeah, that's pretty close to what I had. I have about
But
a
say
solid 8.
what you wanted me to go solid? Just
I mean, a
I'll
solid
give it a
7 would have been
6.
okay. Damn.
No,
Wait, how did you
no,
have to go 7.5?
no,
Yeah, no. So
no.
yeah, no,
I'm
no.
just messing.
Because I'm right there too. I'm at about an 8. Um, the good highly outweighs the bad, and this
Yeah,
is a remake. This is not Legends Arceus. We need to save all of our harsh criticisms for that game because that's what Game Freak really wants to do as their big comeback. That's going to decide the fate of the Pokemon franchise. At
yeah.
least more than this game. How about you, Darian? Out of 10.
Yeah, I was probably gonna go with around the 7.5 to 8 as well. I'll
The
probably
fuck's
stick
wrong
with
with
I mean, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking
go for
7.5
a
J
nice midway of like a 7 point like
We're gonna go with a
7.5.
7.75. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna give it a 7.93 out of 10. It was a fun game. I enjoyed my time. Of course, it's not perfect. It did have its
I
issues,
enjoyed all 71 hours of my playthrough.
but at the end of the day, I'm sure it captured what it needed to do, and it did it well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And now I'm glad I got the experience. It was a fun game, and now I can't wait to dive into Legends Arceus, where I'm sure we're gonna have a ton of good times.
Oh yeah.
It's
Definitely that game's gonna be very like hour intensive because I mean from the looks of it, and I've been like trying to stay away from any spoilers.
Any massive ones, yeah.
This game looks long as hell. Like I'm like story wise, at least more than 30. More than 30 in my opinion. It
Hey
has to
man,
be.
I've been practicing. I got 71 hours in this game. If the story mode is exactly 71 hours, then I'm good.
I'm about to say, have you played Persona? I have like
Yeah,
181 hours.
I've played P3. I had a good 100
One
hours in P3.
181 hours in PER.
Hmm.
And I was just like, I love this game, but I'm like, I gotta take a break. I
Never
had to
playing
take a
this. Yeah,
hiatus.
don't play it.
Like I was like, oh, this game's long. But
I see
I
if one of
mean,
my friends has his hours public because I know one of my friends really put in a fucking work in that.
All right, this video is easily about 3 hours long, so I think we're good
Ooh.
here.
yeah, we should wrap
All
that
right,
up.
join us next time for our day one Arceus video. I guess I think that's what we're gonna do next.
All right.